After a month away, Paigey, you revealed on Monday that you'd been in rehab, and you didn't want to use any euphemisms like suffering exhaustion or you'd, taken some time off. You wanted to be honest about the fact that you had an issue with alcohol, you went to rehab, and that you're out now and pursuing a normal life.
It's the dumb thing to sort of cover it up and say it was for something else, and I think that really adds to the stigma around rehab, and I think it's good for people to know that that's a good option out there if things have gotten out of control.
And there was a big outpouring of emotion for you, people saying you're very courageous and also applauding your honesty, and a lot of people saying thank you very much because they're also suffering issues, especially in this time lockdown, with habits and substance abuse. I have a very dear friend by the name of Jane Rowe. She's a drug and alcohol counsellor. She's also the founder of the Mirabelle Foundation, an organisation that cares for children orphaned or abandoned due to parental drug abuse. So she knows a lot about this particular subject, and we've got her on today to answer some questions that we've all got. Good morning to you, Jane Rowe.
Good morning to you, Lawrence Mooney.
And welcome. This is Paigey and Jess.
Hello, Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Now,
Hello, Paigey. Hello, Jess.
first of all, Janie, we want to talk about what a partner can do for somebody who's addicted, because it's the partner that sees the habits forming first. It's a very difficult one to broach with somebody who is abusing drugs or alcohol. How does a partner go about broaching that subject with their loved one?
I think it's got to be addressed very directly, but it's exactly what Paigey said. There's so much stigma and shame and humiliation with that. So I think a partner has to be very direct without being accusing, and really encourage that person to get help, to get counselling, or maybe even to suggest they go as a couple, because often there's a lot of resistance to that. And to be fair, partners are probably at the end of their tether by the time it gets to that.
And what if the partner in question reacts negatively towards that?
Again, I think you've got to be kind, but I think you've got to be persistent. Mm-hmm. And it gets to a point where, you know, you have to draw a line in the sand, really. You say, well, I think it's a problem, and we absolutely need to go and address this and do it together. But you've got to stay with it. And you can't just sort of go away and think, oh, well, maybe they're okay. You know, partners intuitively know what's happening.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention the other day is about stopping drinking. And if you are out there and you're drinking a huge amount of alcohol every day and you want to stop, do go and see your GP before you stop, because actually just if it's a huge amount every day, your body and your brain is so used to that, stopping suddenly can actually be dangerous, and often you're better off doing it under supervision. So talk to your GP before you stop.
Wow.
I don't want to say, Jane, that getting sober is the easy part, because it's not easy, but the really difficult part does come after that circuit breaker and getting sober, doesn't it? And it's the maintenance of sobriety.
Completely, Paigey. I do actually think that stopping is the easiest part. I think maintaining is a life in progress and very difficult. GP is always the first stop. I mean, great to go and see a GP, get your health checked out, talk to them, and also they'll have a lot of great resources and referrals, because it's going to be, you know, a long road. Don't do it alone. And I think you're absolutely right. Go to your GP first if you're drinking a lot.
Jane, earlier you mentioned the wording for partners who they think have got a problem, direct without accusing. Can you give me some examples of some words that we can use? Because to me, direct is accusing.
Yes, well, I think one can still be, you know, kind when you're saying that. Okay. So it's, you know, I know you have a problem. I understand that. I think, you know, using the word we a lot.
Okay.
It's about us. I think if you go in and you're accusing, and as much as I know you've been drinking, don't lie to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which is tempting to do, but that is not going to get you anywhere, because you're going to push that person into more shame and denial. We've got to allow people to say, yes, you know, I'm hurting, and substance abuse, alcohol is really about avoidance or managing feelings. And so if we put people on the spot like that, the first reaction is going to be deny and probably go and have a drink.
I've heard you say before, Janie, that shame and anxiety is what any drug or alcohol addicted person has always lived with. And so we need to avoid that in the process of getting them better. Yes,
and I think perhaps a disconnection as well. And there's so much power in secrets, and it's about bursting that secret for the person who is struggling with alcohol and letting them feel that, you know, they're not doing anything wrong and there is help, and to try and get them to ask themselves why they're doing it and not being judged. That is a big one, not judging them.
Well, it's so important to know, if you're listening right now, there's so much help out there. There are a lot of options about what you can do, but as Jane mentioned, do talk to your GP first. If you feel things are out of control, that's a great first stop.
Jane Rowe, thank you very much for joining us this morning and for shedding a little bit more light on where people can go and how they can seek help.
My absolute pleasure, and Paigey, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Well
Thank you.
done.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks so much for your time. It's Moon Man in the Morning.